At the last convention I went to, not the last one, it was the one before, I was in the dealer's hall, and I was selling the Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge shirts and everything, and I'd been there all weekend, and obviously a lot of fans come up and they say hey, and they want pictures and stuff, and opposite me there was a young girl who was selling like art and stuff, and she came up to me after the dealer's hall had like been packed away and was closed down on the last day, and she said, "Excuse me, LittleKuriboh," and I'm like, "Yes," and she says, "I have a question." I'm like, "Okay," because people sometimes are like, "How do you make videos?" or "How do you edit lip flaps?" or "How do you do the voices?" Her question is, "Do you feel like a pedophile?" And I'm like, "Why?" And she says, "Because you hug all these young girls." I do now. This is the most awkward question I've ever gotten. What about you, Tucker? Have you had any?
What about the nipple question? I thought that one was one of the more awkward ones.
The nipple question?
Yeah.
You know about that?
You told me about that one twice.
It was the first, like, the first ever Q&A I did. Somebody asked me, "What color are your nipples?"
Because.
And the answer was nipple colored. Which, you know, leaves it up to the imagination. But I have a running joke with those girls now who ask that. But I actually, the first time I ever got completely wasted at a convention, and I wish I'd brought this video. Oh, that would have been perfect if I brought that video. Could have shown that. Because I was dressed up as Naruto, and I got drunk on sake, of all things, because I had no idea how to drink it. And I genuinely believe that I was Naruto at one point. That's how drunk I was, and I was eating noodles, and I said, "This tastes almost as good as Sasuke's ass!" Well, oh, geez.
Someone want that baby?
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. She doesn't seem to care. As a young child.
Actually, at Manifest, we were doing a photo shoot thing, and there was a 8-year-old girl dressed up as Vegeta and her little sister, who was like 6. It was just in a maid outfit with a pan. And she's like, "Hey, Vegeta," as a little girl. And then, "Oh, God damn it, Gamma." Little girl saw me and one of them hit Lanny with a frying pan.
With an actual frying pan?
It didn't actually hit him, with an actual frying pan.
I know at Acon, I don't know if it was Acon, but somebody threw a lettuce at you guys.
No, that was at Chaoticon. Someone threw cabbage at me.
Cabbage at you? Why?
And I've been thrown up because Napa is Japanese for cabbage.
Oh. Nobody throws things at me. I feel like an inferior celebrity.
You don't throw dog biscuits at me because I played Goldo.
Really?
Yes, that's happened multiple times.
That's awesome. Anyone throw anything at you, Howard? Someone throw something at Howard.
Money is okay.
Oh, Jason. Oh, God. That wasn't me.
That's your room key card.
Nobody sells that.
You guys have Smarties in Canada?
Yes.
That's all. Do you guys have the only Smarties have the answer at Look campaign? Yes. Awesome.
You want some stories?
Do I want some stories? Oh, no, I'm good. If you have stories, though, feel free to share.
Hey, like, I told you your costume stuff.
Yes. You want to come up and tell that story?
Sure.
Go up and tell the story. Tell the story.
Tony, it's been so long. I love a Smartie. Thank you. I missed.
Alright, so, first time I met this guy was 2 years ago, Anime Evolution. Yeah, you remember this story. Good times. Alright, well, he was cosplaying Naruto. Yeah, he did that a lot. And he had like a cigarette, and he was like, so, and I didn't know what it was from, but it's funny. I thought he was doing it as a joke. Yeah, you were doing it as a joke. But there was this contest going on at the time called the worst cosplay contest.
I remember that.
You remember, yeah, you remember that. So, I walked up to him and I asked, "Hey, are you going to the worst cosplay contest?" And he had the smile, he was nodding, and then just went. and then I stopped. I was like, "No, it's not what I meant. It's not what I meant. Your costume's really good." And he was just like, he was devastated. Best part about the story is, like a week later online, I was scrolling through something and one of his fans made this big post about how some jerk had said that his costume sucked, and then he went home and cried. And I was like, "Oh shit, did I make him cry? Oh my god." So I sent you a message and like, "Did you cry? Did you cry? Did you cry?" Oh, okay. So that was my story.
Do you have any stories about like people treating you in a certain way because of your show or anything?
Something actually happened today in the dealer hall like an hour ago. Yeah, someone came up and was like, "Oh, are you TehExorcist?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then she's like, "You're a lot shorter than I thought." I was like, "I'm a lot, yeah," and I was like, "I'm a lot shorter than I thought too."
So then you locked Leia in the cell and you just left her on the Death Star, right? Oh, no one got that joke? Oh my god.
I'm sure they got it, they just didn't like it. How not to be internet funny. Captain America. But yeah, I don't really know how to lead into what I was going to talk about, but my rise to internet fame, and this is I kind of want you guys to walk away from this panel with like a lesson learned on how not to do things the way I try to do them. Because I don't know how many of you are on the internet, well I see a lot of you, but back in the day, when webcomics were a huge thing.
Still are.
That's still a huge thing, yeah, but back in the day, before like YouTube existed, webcomics were kind of like the way to be, I guess, a big deal online. I guess AMVs sort of took over after that, and then a bridge series, and now it's all YouTube, like new media and everything. But I got on the internet in, I believe, 1998, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And I wasn't LittleKuriboh back in the day, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Wasn't a thing. And it wasn't a thing for me for like almost 10 years, but my original online handle was LokeDog, and everyone thought I was a very large, intimidating black man. And I'm not a very large, intimidating black man, just to dissuade those rumors. Maybe people, what? Oh goodness. But I went on this chat room online, and I did the thing that a lot of really stupid teenage boys do. I fell in love with a girl in a chat room. I fell in love. I had a crush on a girl in a chat room. So the way I wanted to express this feeling of adoration was to rip off her webcomic and make my own and be like, I can do art too. Look how talented I am. And it was terrible. It was called The Tongue. I wanted to impress this girl with my tongue. I don't know, but it was actually not based on it, but if you've seen Wayne's World, there's a scene where Garth goes into, yes, he goes into like, is it Garth? He has this whole thing, he has an aside to the camera where he says, have you ever seen that Twilight Zone episode where the guy signs a contract and he just becomes a tongue in a jar? And that episode doesn't exist, apparently. And I said, what if I took that idea and made it a webcomic? And it was a very bad idea. And in a bit, we will be showing you my comic, and we'll probably be voicing over it. It's really, really bad. I don't really know how to. Are you okay, Howard? I don't know how to. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's really, really bad. I had 5 webcomics at one time because I realized that this was some way of expressing my creative energy, and I didn't know how many people were reading it. It turns out none. But I had 5. I had The Tongue. I had a spin-off from The Tongue called The Fairest Sex. I had something called Down to Earth. I had Fruities, which was based on a very bad Spanish cartoon about fruit that lived on an island with a young girl. Let me tell you the story of this show. This girl is stranded on this desert island, and the fruit can talk. Never an issue. She never seems confused by it. She's trying to find her parents. These fruit have access to the internet and a hot air balloon which they use to travel all over the world on fantastic adventures. They never think to go to a police station and ask them to find her parents. She's been kidnapped by fruit on a desert island, and to me it's the most messed up story. So I wanted to make a webcomic, and I wish I brought that one, but I wanted to make a webcomic that basically told the story in like a really dark, disturbing way. As he's talking through on an island somewhere. And I think I did another comic. What was it? I've forgotten. But I had at least 5 going on at the time. Oh, there was one that was like a really dead serious comic, which I might actually rework into a script one day, but it was called The Final Seed, and it was like it's set in a fantasy world with zombies, and it was Game of Thrones, only a webcomic. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
It isn't. It really isn't. But yeah, lots of failed attempts at being a big deal on the internet, and I'm ashamed of them. And do you have any things that you're ashamed of that you've done on the internet, Taka, aside from?
Anything I'm ever ashamed of doing? Well, there's things I'm ashamed of doing, but not on the internet.
Were you ever in an episode of Naruto Abridged?
No.
Oh, you dodged that bullet.
I dodged that bullet.
What else were you in?
I was in Zero Master's show as Dustman.
Oh, the Mega Man show.
Mega Man Abridged.
Mega Man Abridged. I'm Dustman.
That was what? I was also in a Jelly Layer Abridged.
What's to be ashamed of that? Oh, that's great. Were you one of the girls?
Yes, I was me. They actually made it me.
Oh, really?
And then they rewrote it because they cut me.
What?
The new episode came out, I wasn't in it. Well, I guess I missed that recasting.
Okay.
Hey, I'm trying to think of something. You know, originally, the original plan for a web show that me and a friend were going to do, we were, okay, it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Based. We were going to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards against a tin robot we were going to build in his garage. And we were always going to try and beat it, and it always just one-upped us non-stop until we went crazy and murdered it. That was going to be the show.
That's the show.
But we realized doing a bridging was easier. That took camera work in.
Right.
You know what, dude? I've had worse ideas. The original idea was going to be Gito, guys on the internet. We were going to be fake superheroes and beat each other up for public live reactions from people. That was going to be the idea. One of them was going to go wiffle bat tea and hit people in the head with a wiffle bat.
That was my other comic. I had another comic called Beyond. No, not that. But I actually had another comic called. It was called GFC, and it was just the letters GFC, and they stood for Generic Furry Comic. And it was about me as a Gary Stu, who was a janitor in this like science facility, and he got, for some reason they had an alien in the facility, and the alien woke up like from stasis or whatever because he did something by accident, and then the alien activated some sort of thing that made the facility to take off into space. And then they flew to this planet where there was like a war between these furry creatures and aliens, and my got turned into a dog. That was the comic.
Does this cross over into your Pathfinder session?
No. Were you guys here for my panel the other day? Yeah. Where I told the story about having sex with a dog and then Jesus walked in the room? Yeah, you weren't there? Oh yeah, I will tell you the story. How many of you weren't here? So enough people to tell the story again. Yeah, sure. This is how not to be internet famous. I was in a Pathfinder session like last week, and my character is a werewolf. I'll do an abbreviated version. My character is a werewolf, so at one point, the other members of my party had to like stop me from going into my crazy werewolf state and killing everybody. So they buried me up to my neck in sand, and then they started summoning. When I broke free, they started summoning cows to distract me, and I started eating all these cows. But eventually, I got bored of the taste of cow, so my friend summoned a female dog in heat. Which distracted me for 8 hours. I gained 25 experience points for having sex with a dog. And when I told this story in my panel the other day, a Jesus cosplayer walked in. I was like, alright. Forgive me, Father, for I have gained experience points. Very bad experience points. That was a golf clap for having sex with a dog. Pinkie Pie. How would you be internet famous? Have a party? What kind of party?
The biggest party in history.
Sorry?
The biggest party in history.
The biggest party in Mardi Gras. That would be pretty cool. Oh, hey.
Jello shots.
Lots of shots. Oh boy.
Should we tell the story of my roast?
Oh my god.
Do you guys know about my roast?
Okay, so I I decided to do it with the rest of Team Fortress. Set up a roast for LittleKuriboh. Oh my god. So it was an hour late, so people were in line. There was a lot of people in line. I pushed back an hour, so like tension was really raised as well.
I should preface this, or preface this, or however you say it, by mentioning that I had just got married, and so I was given a gift, a wedding gift, which was a bottle of tequila. We had no way of storing this, so we just decided to drink it on the spot. An hour before the roast, I had had half a bottle of tequila.
Bart was so far gone, he was in the third book of Narnia. I walked out of the room after making sure everything's okay. Takahata101! Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, Lanny.
I just was walking up to people and saying like one-liners and being like, I can't say most of them because they're not PG-13, but I was like, you're very intelligent. I'm sorry. You're very intelligent, but I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Oscar, how's my impression of you? And then the panel started up, and we were wondering, should we do it because Martin's so drunk? And I said, we're doing it because Martin's drunk. He's going to stop recording. We couldn't disappoint everybody, and if we didn't go through with it, the crowd would be very unhappy for waiting for 2 hours. So we went through with the panel, and everyone went through their bits, and it got to LittleKuriboh from that guy with the glasses. Anyone familiar with LittleKuriboh?
Yeah.
LittleKuriboh's been. And for whatever reason, he started going, Masako X, I will destroy you!
Because LittleKuriboh wanted to review something that Masako had just reviewed on an Anifile. So LittleKuriboh was like, how dare you? And I was like, yes! Yes! Kill Masako! Kill him!
Now, on to Kaiser Neko. On to Kaiser Neko. You're like,
No! No!
kill him! You had blood in your eyes, like, kill him!
The scary thing is, Kill Masako was trending on Twitter the next day.
What was funny about it was halfway through the event, your wife got up and left you, and then a larger Homestuck cosplayer sat beside you. You looked over, ah!
I was like, what happened to my wife? What did you do?
What was it? And you tried taking the microphone at one point.
I kept trying to take the microphone. I was like, give me the microphone. No, give me the microphone.
Lanny had me for this line. I thought you were British, not Irish.
But one of my favorite parts was Kaiser Neko made a jab at Masako about Anifile. Yes. He made some sort of joke about how being on the roast was still better than watching an episode of Anifile, and the crowd sort of tittered at it, and I was like, ha! It's funny because it sucks, and the whole crowd exploded. I was so far gone because the only time I realized that I was in front of a crowd of people. Because do you ever get so drunk that you kind of rise out like above the surface of the water and you look around and then you go back under again? And that's how you feel. I had one of those moments during the roast when Kaiser was making jokes about Wachao. Because if you've ever seen or heard an episode of Wachao, they say, Wachao, it's like a kick in the nuts. And he was adding different taglines, like what was it? Wachao is
It's like taking a warm bath with razor blades.
Warm bath with razor blades. And people laughed. And then I just went, Wachao! It's like watching an episode of Dragon Ball Z Bridge! And the whole crowd went crazy, and I was like, there's people here!
See, the problem is HBI2K's bit was so horrifyingly amazing that I wish we would put him last. He gave you an award.
An award for the most passive-aggressive, because here's the thing, it's kind of an awkward thing to talk about for me because I'm bisexual, and I openly admit that online. Vincent does not approve. Sorry, but I went into detail about it on LiveJournal one time, and then my parents found out because somebody went on my LiveJournal and told them about it, and my parents are very not cool with it, and I had never told them about it, so basically I was outed to my parents without my knowledge by somebody who never came clean to me and said that they did it. I mean, if they talked to me about maybe bringing it up with them, maybe it would have been cool, but it was kind of a terrible.
One of the problems of having being internet.
Yeah.
It's like keeping a private life sometimes really hard to keep separate from some fans who just want to know more and more about you.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's one thing that Michael J. Fox once said that I wanted to quote on the panel was, I've been rich and I've been famous, I'd much rather be rich. Because if you're famous, then you have the thing of being like a big deal in public eye or whatever, but you get constantly harassed, and you never have like private time to yourself. Right? Not that I don't compare myself to Michael J. Fox, but you know. But yeah, what was I was talking about the thing that happened, and I did the thing on LiveJournal, and I got really upset, and to make light of the situation, HBI basically gave me an award that said most passive aggressive coming out to his parents, and just gave it to me, and I raised it up above my head while drunk, was like, yes, and it made everything better.
Roast.
People keep asking to see the roast.
We have multiple angles of footage, but we give our piece because it's like 8.
I think I fall over twice.
3 times. When they reached for the mic, I took the mic away because I knew you would try that if I walked away. Like, where is it?
Where is the mic? There's one time the mic wasn't in the mic stand, and I grabbed the mic stand and started talking into it. I was like, Taka101, here's the problem. The problem is you're drunk. Do you have any stories about like Howard? Do you have any stories about like weird things that happened as a result of you doing like an abridged series?
No.
No weird things whatsoever.
Dude, we've done the Sakura Con panels. Come on now, man.
We can't talk about this.
No. Not anything plus ones, but
How many times have you been promoted as a big
My favorite, one of my favorite experiences in a negative way was I went to Ireland. Actually, no, I'll tell the Vegas story. I went to Vegas, and for some reason, everybody in Vegas at the Vegas conventions has no sense of personal space.
Yeah.
Because and I'm not. Well, I am complaining a little bit, but some of them take it a little too far. I offered to do a big group hug at the end of one of my panels, and people started, getting way too touchy-feely. And then it happened again later on. Somebody just started stroking my face. Hi. some strange person just started touching my face and stroking my beard, and I was like, okay, this is weird. And then at the final day of the convention, I was hanging out with my wife. I had my arm around her, and I was talking to some friends, and some guy just started stroking my back. And I turned around, and he's still doing it. I'm like, yes, and he's like, I just leaves. It's very odd, very odd.
I didn't know Kaiser did that. What was it? I got one from this con actually.
Oh yeah?
I've been cosplaying Loki from the Avengers. Someone, I don't know how, found out what room I was in. I was left 1 note, 2 notes, 3 notes, 4 notes, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 different notes, yes. There were 2. I took the other 8 into the room. It's
Were they addressed to you or to Loki?
To Loki.
Isn't that simpler?
People say, I mean, just go, Neil! I'm looking for Neil.
I had one story from Manifest in Australia, which is one of my favorite conventions. After my panel, we had a line of people to meet me, and somebody gave me a dual disc, which was like, wow, this is awesome, this is great. I've never had a dual disc before, this is fantastic. I should mention that it was a girl that gave it to me. And afterwards, I took it home and I started checking it out. I opened all the little slots that open up for the like cards and stuff and everything, filled with girls' phone numbers. I was like, if you're ever in Australia, maybe we can go on a date. And I'm like, yeah, because that happens a lot.
I don't know if I can tell that story this fast.
Why not?
We were, me and Lanny and Kaiser.
Dude, like, just leave out the important details.
Okay, leave out the important details?
Oh, the rude details.
The rude details. We were doing an autograph signing, and there was an A-con, and the second girl into the autograph session told me to hold up my hand, and I did, and she placed something in my hand, and I opened my hand. It was a condom with a phone number written on it.
Oh. You should tell that story about the 19.
Oh, that story. I've told that story so many times. Why not? Okay, well, this was the first YomaCon we'd ever gone to. It was after the first DBZ Abridged panel we've ever done, and we were, a bunch of fans were at the front asking us to sign different DBZ things, and one short Asian girl came up to me and was like, "You're really, really, really cute." I was like, taken back, I'm like, "Oh, thank you," and then she blurts out, "I'm 18." I was like, "Yes." Yeah, awesome. So I tell that exact story at next year's 18 Plus panel.
At YomaCon.
At YomaCon again. So I walk down into the aisle, start asking people questions again, you know. What's your question? First of all, I want to apologize. Oh my God.
He ran.
And I'm 19 now.
He ran like halfway.
I ran. I was like, oh my God. I ran out of the panel room.
So does anyone want to see my terrible webcomic?
Yes!
Devin, would you care to help me out? My laptop should be over there. I'll be switching the projector on, and you will be able to see if you were you able to go? Yeah. If you unless there's a guy there operating it. Is there a gentleman there? I can't see this man speaking. Oh, then if there's a guy, I'll turn the projector on, and if you can double click on the first installment of The Tongue.
Swipe the finger.
Swipe the finger. Oh, I need to get down there.
We need your DNA.
Guys, entertain them while I'm swiping my finger.
Hi. How's it going?
Come on.
Tell a joke.
Oh, I just dance.
Tell some jokes.
Final form.
Tell some jokes.
Howard! Howard! Sexy dance. Come on. I just panel, bro.
Do it. Do it.
I want that power. 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 Here. Do it. Do it. Oh.
Later.
Guys, later.
Reminds me of Myers. This is obviously like Windows Paint.
Joke? Is Wayne right? Slide it.